All right, guys, we're going to take a look at functions today and how we can use those to make some different things happen with our apps and in our code. So go ahead and create a playground. You can just call it functions if you'd like to. And let's get to our playground screen. And let's get to work here. So a function is basically a block of code that you can create to to do different things. So it's kind of it's a function. It's going to do something. So there's a few ways you can set these things up here. So today we're going to focus on functions and parameters. And just kind of show you how that all works. All right, so we'll start with a very simple function. So to create your own functions in code, you always have to have the keyword func. So it's kind of an abbreviation of function. Always have to start with that. Okay, so we're going to start with function, and then we'll have this one called say hello. Okay, so we got the keyword for function, the name of the function, two parentheses. Okay, which we'll talk more about these later, but we'll just leave them empty for now. And then a curly brace up top, and then a curly brace down below. Okay, so that's kind of the format of a function. Function keyword func, the name of the function, parentheses, and then our curly braces. Anything that happens between the curly brace will happen when we call this function. So if we just wanted to, the name of this function is say hello. So if we just put a string in here that says hello, the function's going to say hello when we call it. Okay, so right now, nothing's happening. Okay, but if we were to go down a couple lines here and we were going to go ahead and call the function. Okay, if we type out say hello, we call the function, and the function is used, and you can see hello is run, okay, because we called the function. All right, so now with this function, we can call it as many times as we want. All right, so there's no limit, so we can call it over and over and over, and you can see it's getting called 3 times. So the function's getting run 3 times. Okay, so that's a function. Okay, so very basic form there. Okay, so right now we're just kind of we're putting it to the console on the right here. All right, but we got to start there. So why don't we go ahead now and talk about what happens inside these parentheses here. If we want to pass parameters to our function. Okay, so let's create a new function. We'll say function. Let's call it say your name. Okay, and then let's get everything set up like we did the first time. So again, we got our keyword function, we got say your name, we've got the parentheses, and then we got our curly braces. So now a parameter would be if we want to pass some information into this function. Okay, so if we wanted to maybe pass in a name or some kind of information for the function to process, we would put it inside the parentheses and we call that a parameter. All right, so we're going to name this function. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and call this function name. Okay, so this can be anything. It can be name, it could be person. It's up to you. But for this one, let's just call it name. Then we have to say what type of parameter it is, and this is going to be a string. Okay, so that's part one here. Okay, so now we can use this parameter inside our function. So we can say hello. Okay, and then we can use our string interpolation technique, and then we can bring down the name, which is right here. All right, so we're passing that one through. Okay, so as we look at this, okay, there it goes away. Yeah, okay, so now when we call it, it's going to look a little different when we call this function. So again, when we call say hello, you'll notice, again, it's just parentheses. There's nothing happening here. It's just we're calling the function. Okay, so everything's okay with that one. Okay. Now though, when we call say your name, okay, a little different. You can see now we're being prompted that, hey, you got a parameter, and we're getting an error at the moment because it's saying, hey, you need to put a parameter in here. Okay, so now go ahead and put in my name here. Okay, now that the function has its parameter, it can work. Okay, and as you can see, it says hello, Chris. Okay, so the function takes the information, uses it, and then when it runs it out, that's going to be used. Again, we could call that function again. We could say your name. All right, we could put Bob, and then when it gets run 2 times, okay, you can see the most recent time was hello Bob was there, so you can call that over and over. Obviously, though, every time you pass in a new parameter, the old one gets kicked out for the new one. Okay, so that's creating a function with 0 parameters. Create a function with a parameter. Okay, so we've been working with strings here. We can do this with numbers as well. All right, so let's do a function here with a little math. We'll call function add numbers. And same thing, same setup. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look how this could work. So let's say we're going to add a couple numbers. Okay, so we'll kind of cover 2 things with this one. We're going to do a function with 2 parameters. All right, so we'll go number 1. We'll just make that an int. And then to put in a second parameter, you just have to put a comma. All right, so nothing too involved there. Number 2. And so now I've got a function with 2 parameters. Okay, and then we can work with that. Okay, so let's say we wanted to use these two numbers. The user is going to be kind of like a calculator. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's create the answer first. We'll create a constant called answer. All right, and then we'll just go ahead and add up number 1 plus number 2. All right, again, taking these two from up top here. Okay, and then from there, we'll go ahead and we'll put this out. We'll have our function, take those two numbers and then give us a little result. So we'll say the answer is, and then we'll go string interpolation and pass in our answer constant, which is coming from here. I let everything, what's going on? There we go. Yeah, error goes away. Back that up, and let's call this function. So add numbers. There we go. So you can see now we've got both parameters are put in for us. All right, so we can go 5 and 6. And let's see what happens here. And you can see, so we can go back to the function. It takes the information. It adds up the two numbers as 11, and then the answer is 11. Okay, so that works. Again, we could come down here. Again, we could change these numbers up. Change that to 1,000 if I wanted to. Getting a little crazy there. 1,005. So again, you can see the function is taking the numbers, calculating them based on the math we told it to do, and then taking that answer and putting it in our statement here for the user to see. Okay, so far we've got 3 function types. We've got a function with 0 parameters, we've got a function with a name with 1 parameter, and then we got a function with 2 parameters, also working with an int on that one. Okay, so with functions, again, to keep as you start working on your own here in a moment, you just got to be careful. You always got to make sure you have the func func keyword. Okay, so again you can auto complete that. You need to have a name and then the parentheses, and you either have parameters or you don't. Okay, so on the problems today, it's going to specifically tell you when to use parameters and when not to. All right, so just make sure you read that clearly. Then just always have the curly braces, and then whatever you put inside the curly brace is going to happen when you call the function. Not until you do that, though. Okay, so with that, again, at this point, you guys, I think we're good with our screencast here. We've covered some of the basics of functions and parameter passing. Go ahead and start working on the function review problems. Again, so when you can start working on those today. When I get back into class tomorrow, we'll go over those problems. So I'll also give you some time to work. So if you have questions or aren't sure, just mark it. You can ask me that tomorrow, in class, and we'll see how we do there. So good luck on the review problems. Nice job following through on the screencast, and we'll see you back in class tomorrow. Bye, guys.